What's up, everybody? It's John Morgan. Listen, I want to just say thank y'all to everybody who has been supporting this podcast. I cannot grow this without the support of the community who allows me to grow. So thank y'all to everybody who's been supporting, everybody who's been sharing it, everybody who is a subscriber on YouTube, everybody who has purchased merch from me, everybody who just tells somebody, you know, through telling somebody in conversation, who share these podcasts in your group text. Thank y'all. I cannot do this without you guys. So thank you for that. Right now, we want to ask for a specific type of support right now. If you can, stop what you're doing. Yes, you right now. Stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing right now. Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Become a subscriber to this page, the Live Your Purpose Podcast YouTube channel. Become a subscriber. Like, share, tell somebody about it. But stop what you're doing right now. Go to your YouTube page and become a subscriber. Click it. Click subscribe on the YouTube page and become a subscriber of this page. It allows us to grow, and it allows us to touch different reach with different people. So please, if you call yourself a supporter, if you want to continue to see us grow and continue to see us build, stop what you're doing right now. Go to YouTube, click that subscribe button, like, thumbs up, all of that. Please, right now, Live Your Purpose Podcast. Peace. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Live Your Purpose Podcast. I'm your host, John Morgan Jr. Listen, before we get into who our wonderful guest is for the day, we gotta say thank you to the community of LYP, man. You know, I cannot do this without, number one, my team, but we cannot do this without the community, man. The people who support us, the people who, you know, who I may not even always see, people who buy the products, people who rock the hoodies, and, you know, they tell somebody about what we doing, you know, we're not around. You know, I appreciate that. And the energy that we've been putting out, you know, we really try to be genuine. We try to do it from a place of service, and I feel that energy back, you know what I'm saying, from the community that we built. And so I gotta just say thank you to everybody who's been supporting. You know, much love to y'all. We're gonna continue to grow this thing. We're gonna continue to see this thing come to fruition. We done came a long way from one iPhone, you know what I'm saying, in a living room, and, like, you know what I'm saying, not knowing what the hell we was doing. We literally just had $1 and a dream, and you know, I called Real. I said, man, I want to do a podcast, and I want you to run the sound. And 2 years later, here we are. And the beautiful thing about that is we literally are still in the beginning stages. So thank you for everybody who has seen us through day one and to seeing where we come in today, and just want to continue to see us build it and grow it, you know, to heights that I can't even necessarily imagine right now. For those of you, this is your first time at LYP. LYP is a space and a place that we literally try to highlight creatives, entrepreneurs, specifically Black creatives and entrepreneurs. And we just want to be intentional about highlighting their stories to be able to inspire, encourage other people. You know, that's what literally LYP is all about. You know, that's what the mantra of Live Your Purpose is literally all about. So we try to sit down and have thought-provoking and just dope-ass conversations with, you know, people who we see from a distance who are doing some cool shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about here. So our next guest that we have is definitely one of those people. And we were literally just having a conversation about, like, social media content, and one of the things that I really appreciate about what she's doing is, like, her consistency to, like, really putting out dope content, you know what I'm saying, and doing it in an intentional way. So I, you know, appreciate her being here.
Thank you.
First guest of 2022.
Hey, I didn't know that.
Chanda Woodall. What's happening?
That's lit. What's going on?
How you feeling?
I had no idea I was the first guest.
Yeah, first guest of 2022.
I guess it is still the first week, huh?
It is, but still, you still the first guest. Regardless.
Thank you. I feel honored. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm doing good. I feel blessed. I have no complaints about life right now.
Yeah.
I'm doing good.
Yeah. Well, I wanna piggyback off that a little bit. Like, I really am trying to be intentional about asking people how they are
Generally?
Like, genuinely, though.
You
like,
want the long answer or you want the short?
I want the real answer.
Cut answer.
I want the real answer. How are you for real in this season? Not just like I'm doing cool. Like, really,
okay,
how are you?
I'm going to tell you how I operate a little bit.
Okay.
So I intentionally tried to change the way I think when I wake up every day. Mm-hmm. So every day I feel like I have a routine. I'm big on routine. So I wake up, I try to mentally just be okay, like, okay, how I want this day to go. This day gonna go this way, this day gonna go that way, but I try to keep it positive. But throughout the days recently, I have just been more busy. So I've just been busy in the sense of like, I have a lot on my plate right now, and I'm a one woman working like all these jobs. So it does get a bit tiring. So I have been trying to find time to pause and break and relax. Cooking and yoga has been a lifesaver for me when it comes to that.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, overall, I really feel okay. I feel good. I feel okay.
That's good.
I'm happy about a lot of things. Like, I always tell people, like, I'm busy, I'm swamped, but it's like, I'm good busy, I'm good swamped. Like, I don't want to complain about it because it's like, I've been asking for it. So I'm like, here it is, here it comes. How am I going to handle it? So I feel like I try to think like God's going to give me what I can handle. And when I can't handle it, I'll be able to figure out how to delegate. But for now, I feel like I'm doing okay for what I have right now. Yeah. So I just try to stay optimistic. But realistically, I'm doing good, you know.
Well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful to hear, you know, especially in a new year. You know, we still in the middle of a pandemic.
Yes.
You know, so to see things that people have been working for, been building, you know, manifesting into like receiving them, that's dope, right? Like, you know,
I'm grateful for the pandemic in a way.
So
I'm sorry to America, but I'm thankful for it because it's highlighted a lot for me.
What have you learned about yourself these last couple of years?
What I'm capable of.
What you mean by that? Break that down.
What I'm capable of. I feel like I knew my potential. I feel like I've always had a special something in me that I didn't really know what to recognize as growing up because of just my upbringing. It's I don't want to say a typical story, but I feel like everyone has a unique story of how they grew up to kind of get where they are. But I've always had challenges in my life. I've always had to overcome things. I've always had limitations as far as like just what's accessible to me. Yeah. So I've always found my way to kind of make it through each obstacle. Like even coming into adulthood, like figuring out work, figuring out how to pay bills, like trying to find a way to kind of come out on top and be at ease from things that come up in life. So I'm like, man, I'm good at getting out of sticky situations. So I'm like, the pandemic kind of put me in a place where I was like, okay, I can take time to really focus on myself. And I'm like, what do I want to do? What do I like? And I feel like it kind of made me realize a lot of things that are good in me that I haven't been showcasing to people. Yeah. I feel like I have a lot of talents I haven't been showcasing just because of me not believing in myself and me not really putting the work in and kind of are we allowed to cuss on here?
Absolutely.
I was like, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Like half-assing it away.
Yeah.
And just not being intentional with stuff. Like, I feel like I was like one of those people I feel like who I now just can't even be in the same room with and have genuine conversations who like showcase a lot, say a lot, but like, what am I really doing? Like, what am I really putting out to the world? Like, how am I really like adding to this earth that we're on? So it's like, I feel like the pandemic really made me sit down and question like, okay, how do I want to like live my life and like, how do I want to move forward with things?
So was it specifically the quarantine and like being isolated that made you do that? Or was it just the overall like the ramifications of everything going on with like the state of
I don't want to say world. The pandemic started that because I feel like I kind of was in that mindset after. I want to say after the military because I was in a weird spot before military. Like I had just gotten out of a 5-year relationship. 27, so I was 25 when I got out of that relationship. I joined the Army. And
you joined the Army right after your relationship?
Literally.
Oh,
facts.
shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I need a new life.
Okay.
God help me. Like, basically. Yeah, I was in a long relationship. We were like talking engagement, like really preparing for the future, and it just didn't work out. Nothing bad happened particularly, but didn't work out, and I was in a weird spot, and I didn't know what I wanted to do because I was playing housewife. So I joined the Army. And another reason behind that is because I got injured in college playing lacrosse, lost the scholarship. So I like had this, like, I'm like, dang, next semester I can't pay for it. Like, how am I going to figure things out? I'm in this weird spot. So the Army really, like, put me in a position where I was in this new place by myself, no contact to the outside world. And it was like therapy for me. Like, I'm used to being yelled at. I'm used to discipline from being an athlete. So that wasn't hard for me. Like, the boot camp was easy. For me, it was like going to camp. So that really helped me transition to, like, really toning into my discipline, really toning into, like, a standard that I need to set for myself. And it kind of transitioned into my civilian life when I came back home. Like, okay, I'm held at this higher standard now. How am I going to move forward? And then I got back in 2009, the end of 2019. So I was living in San Antonio for over a year. And then when I got back, think about it, it wasn't even a full year, pandemic came. And then they put me active duty. I just got off of orders, which I'm going back on orders this month. But I just got done working at the food bank in June. So I've been doing military work, and I started a business. I was doing yoga teacher training. I was doing a lot of things at one time, but it was like, I was loving it. Like, I don't know what it was.
So did you come up in a military family? Like, how did even the idea of military come about? It was just
my family.
So I'm just like, I need something different. Like, how did the idea of the military even come about?
I needed something different.
Why the military?
Because I am an athlete. And that's all I know. Like, I've been doing sports my whole life.
So it was the training? It was
the training aspect of it. That mixed with free college, mixed with me having this, like, I feel like when you're in a bad spot, in a dark spot, and in a dark space, like, you want to escape and get away, right? Okay. So I'm like, I'm going to be able to leave. I won't have to pay for nothing. Like, it was like a vacation for me, and it was a way for me to escape everything that was going on in my world, and kind of put me in a place where I can, like, figure some stuff out, you know?
So do you think, were you running from something and running towards something at the same time?
Facts. That was a poetic way of putting it. Yeah. Now that I think about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely was. And my family, no, they were against it, actually. My mom, like, my uncle went to the Marines, but no one else in my family was in the Army. But I'm like what do they call, the black sheep of the family? Yes, facts. Like, that is me. I'm totally different. I'm the only, like, out of my mom has 6 kids. I grew up in North Hill. I love my mom to death. She worked her butt off to raise us and provide us the best life she could to her abilities from what she knew.
Yeah.
You know, but we had a rough life, you know, like, we've been through moving back and forth, homelessness, like, I've seen abuse, I've seen drugs, sex, early age, like, just a lot of stuff I was, like, privy to, like, gun violence. Like, while I was in boot camp, my mom's house got shot up, my brother got shot. It was just a lot of deaths.
Yeah.
Just a lot of that going on. So it's always been hard for me. Even still to this day, I still struggle with this. To be honest with you, I'm in therapy for it. But, like, struggling, balancing, like, the traumatic stuff that I've been through, and then still having to deal with it while trying to build a new life is so hard. Keeping that balance of, like, how do you still connect with your family? I mean, these are my family members, my mom, my dad, my brothers and sisters. So it's like the foundation of the branches, you know? So it's like, but they're not necessarily in the same light as you as far as, like, the mindset of, like, where you want to go in life. They're not seeing life the same, and they're not practicing the same values as you. So it's hard to have relationships because they don't live the same like you. They don't see life the same. So that is, for me, has been tough, and I think is my biggest challenge. Yeah. Because you don't want to stay too close, because then you can get pulled into it, but then you don't want to stay too far away because you might lose those relationships and it might come off a weird way. So but
well, tell me a little bit more about, like, your origin. You know, who is Chanda Woodall? Like, how does what does the beginning of your story look like? If you writing your own memoir today, like how did tell me a little bit about the origin in the beginning.
Okay, so I grew up in Akron, Ohio. My father is from Michigan, Detroit. And
Michigan, Detroit. I ain't never heard nobody say it like that. What? You said the state first, then the city. Not Detroit, Michigan. You said Michigan.
I don't know how you're supposed to say it, to be honest with you.
Oh, you good? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's where he's from. Okay. I feel like overall, my mom, like, I feel like I had a pretty okay childhood. Like, it wasn't terrible. I know people that had it worse, but I'm just like this cool. I've always been artsy. Like, I've always been into different things. Like, I feel like I've always just been this, like, the one that was like standing out different into stuff. I've always been a hard worker. I mean, I've been working since I was 14. Been an athlete my whole life. That really shaped me, to be honest with you, the sports. Like, having the coach around to kind of get me through those tough times when I was a kid. I went from being so angry all the time to now being like this blossom of sunshine who, like, wants to radiate positivity to everybody and, like, show people, like, it's possible. I've been there. So I'm just trying to, like, really show people this new, like, way of living, this new way of thinking, this new mentality through what I love doing, which is yoga, meditation, sound healing, creating, entrepreneurship. Like, I'm just loving it. Like, you know.
Yeah, so, like, you are owner of a yoga studio, in time Yoga.
Yes.
Who were some of your earliest influences of just, like, creatives and entrepreneurship? The reason I ask that specifically, you know, to people when they come and sit down with me is because, you know, for myself, you know, my story wasn't necessarily that I had people like, you know, my parents weren't entrepreneurs. You know, the people closest in my family weren't entrepreneurs. I didn't see people necessarily leaning into their creative side to make a living and earn a living. Now, granted, a lot of that had to do with the time, you know, that we were in, and just the area that we in. You know, being here in the Midwest, a lot of the overall economy is ran through the automotive industry, the industrial industry, period.
Yeah.
So that's how people made a living. That's how people survived. You know what I'm saying? So that was not necessarily not my story. And I heard it different sides. Like, I heard people told me, you know, their parents are entrepreneurs, and that was their first, you know,
like,
entryway into, you know, they was like, okay, this is something different. I'm rolling with that in some way, somehow. Then I have people like myself who was just like, I had to seek it out. You know, I learned it later on in life. You know what I'm saying? So, like, maybe you didn't even know it back then, but who were some of your earliest influences?
Earlier on?
Yeah, as a kid.
As a kid, who I looked up to?
Yeah.
My coaches. Yeah. I'll be real. I honestly...
What sports all did you play coming up?
So I started out doing cheerleading and gymnastics for a little bit. And then once I got into, like, middle school, I did basketball and cheerleading. And then once I got to high school, I did cross country, volleyball, basketball, both, like, all season. So I did 2 sports every season. So I was like, I need to stay busy. But my story behind that is because I just hated being home, to be honest with you. Like, house was always, it was just like a lot always going on at home. Yeah, so I'm like, I didn't want to be around it. So when you play a sport, it's like you get to stay at school, you get to stay late, you get to go to, like, special events, travel. So my coaches really, really, really were, like, who I looked up to because they just really, like, shaped me and, like, saw who I was. I feel like I was being seen, whereas, like, at home I wasn't. And then I was in Upper Bound. I don't know if you're familiar with Upper Bound. So every summer I got to go to, like, stay on campus at Akron U, and then we did some at Kent State. I was also in DECA, which is... That's
like marketing, right?
It's marketing. So it's like a marketing, and you got to do all the schools, like, marketing stuff and, like, design the clothing and stuff like that. So I got to do that my junior and senior year. So that tapped me in my creativity. But my marketing teacher... what is his... Mr. Matthews.
Okay.
He was just always so, like, positive. And, like, I used to be negative sometimes. I feel like in high school I was, like, kind of just, like, however my day was going at home, transitioned into, like, school sometimes. Like all kids. Yeah. So, like, he was just always like believing in me and pushing me. So I feel like he was probably someone as far as like an educator who I looked up to. But as far as like anybody like in the spotlight, I really didn't look up to anyone in the spotlight, really, to be honest. More recently, my biggest inspiration that I've been looking into is Issa Rae. I love her.
Yeah, Issa's dope.
I used to watch her on YouTube.
Really?
Before.
So you were early on the Issa Rae.
I used to. I mean, I think this is so amazing. Like, I really used to watch her when she had like 50 views on YouTube. Right. And she was writing and directing stuff. And I used to think she was hilarious. Me and my friends in college, we used to watch her. And then now it's like, I can't believe she's doing what she's doing.
She's
so
shit now.
yes, like she's amazing. So I'm like, it just inspires me so much.
I ain't gonna lie. I did not like the last season.
It was shortcutted.
Yeah,
I feel like they rushed it to just get it over. Yeah.
Yes. But I do think they left us with closure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which is very good, and they went out on their own terms.
Yeah.
But it was just so much to like put into this last season.
Yeah.
That I think that they rushed it a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know the back end of how film works and how that world works, but I'm like, did she bite off more than she could chew, or like what happened there? Because we want more seasons, baby. Like, I want to see some more, and it's like nope, we're done. Like, or did she have a new project? Like, I don't know, but
that's why I think
it's just not a clear explanation.
That's why I say the word closure, because I think, and like listening to a couple of her interviews too. Like, I think having closure on this big show, especially a black show, was very important to her. Like, when you think about, like, some of the shows that we seen coming up, like, Girlfriends didn't have closure. Like, Martin didn't have appropriate closure.
Yeah.
Shit, even back in the day, like, Good Times didn't have appropriate closure. Like, a lot of these shows just, like, went away.
Yeah.
You know, Living Single didn't have appropriate closure. Like, a lot of these, like, wonderful, timeless shows that we grew up on, and shit didn't end the way they were supposed to on the creative's terms. Now, granted, Issa Rae, I think, was in had a lot more leverage because she owned the shit. You know what I'm saying? She was able to, call the shots, you know what I'm saying? Which is so important for creatives and entrepreneurs to do, which is to, like, have leverage by owning your shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But so I think that was one of the biggest things. But overall, going back to what you said, man, Issa's the shit.
Issa's the shit.
Yeah,
so that's like one person that I look up to as far as like, I don't even really know much about her life. I don't even follow her on Instagram because I don't follow mostly any famous people on Instagram. I'm like against it low key. Okay. I try not to get sucked up into that and be intentional with who I'm following on Instagram. But I do pay attention to her work ethic. It's the work ethic that I'm like drawn to. It's like seeing her being consistent, continuing to like go and do the work that she's doing. It's led her to like have these big successes. So that to me is inspiring. Yeah.
So were your dreams as a kid to do something long term in athletics? Like, what was what were your dreams as a kid?
I definitely wanted to play. I'm like, I'm gonna go D1. I'm gonna go D1.
On the hoop side or just in any sport?
I was like, I ain't even care. Like, I just want to go to college. Yeah. That's what I wanted. Because, I mean, I'm the first one. Mind you, 6 kids, and only one of them is not grown. So 5 of us.
Where you at in the?
I'm third born.
Okay.
So it's
like in the middle.
I'm in the middle. But I'm the only one to graduate high school.
Really?
I'm the only one to go to the military. I'm the only one to go to college. I'm the only one who's really doing anything really. Not to say my siblings are not, because I love them and they are trying. But it's like, sometimes it's a lot, and I do feel like I'm like, I do feel a lot of pressure in the sense of like having to like drive it, and I'm like, I want to get my mom a new house. I want to get my siblings together. I want to be able to put my people in a situation where they can do better, and maybe the money will help, Right. But it's like the more and more I'm living, the more and more I'm learning from like mentors, from my therapist. It's like you got to set boundaries. Money's not going to solve everything. People have to change mentally.
And you can't. You only got so much control.
Facts.
We do not control as much as we think.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? For myself, that's been a big one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like learning the impact of letting go of control, especially as it relates to other people, especially as it relates to family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we can't. It's hard enough to manage our own shit.
Yeah. I've learned to accept. and that's been a big savior for me is meeting people where they are and realizing that, and this translates to every relationship I have in my life right now, is just accepting people for who they are, meeting them where they are, and not having expectations. Right. And that takes away a lot of disappointment and a lot of stress. Mm-hmm. Because when you can do that, I feel like things are a little bit easier when things don't go the way you might intend them to go. It's like, okay, I'm okay with it. We can move forward. Yeah. You know, so people got to be accountable at the end of the day.
Tell me about yoga. Your experience with yoga. How did you find yoga? How did you get introduced to yoga?
I love yoga, y'all.
Let me get some backstory a little bit. Like, so when me and you first met was at my pop up.
Yes.
And Sway, shout out Sway.
Yeah, shout out to Sway. That's
Sway connected us, and you know, my wife is a yoga instructor. I think he had even mentioned you to me prior to the pop up, because he was like, "Yo, when my homegirl get here, I want you to meet her, or whatever." And he told me that you was a yoga instructor, whatever. And a lot of some of the stuff that you saying now, we talked about in passing in a short time frame.
Yes.
Like, yo, new entrepreneurs, I love yoga.
Yes.
And the first thing that I really like what you was talking about was like, yo, I'm trying to get more black people involved in the yoga. Like, it's very important to me.
It is.
And I'm going to tell my little own story into yoga as well, but how did you find yoga? How were you introduced? What's your experience?
Okay,
how you found it? How you found the practice?
So it's kind of crazy. So we're going to go backwards to present. Okay. So, okay, boom. I'm in college. I'm playing lacrosse. I tear my knee, my ACL meniscus, right? I had to get surgery. So this is before Army. So I have the surgery. Anybody that's been through any type of surgery, like the physical therapy is mentally hard, and it's physically very hard. So they did a lot of these different stretches and stuff like that. But I feel like I never really fully came back from it. Like, I feel like I still had limitations in my knee after physical therapy. It's only 6 months. So, I mean, my leg was like this thin. It was weird. Like, I couldn't do nothing with the leg. But basically, it was from going through that tear with my knee. Went to the Army. I was able to be strong enough to do stuff. Went to the Army. But before that, I was doing YouTube. Like, I was on YouTube doing yoga. I'm like, let me just try, like, stretching to figure out, like, if I can get some more flexibility, because I couldn't do nothing with my knee. So I started doing yoga, and then mentally I've started to I would be in Savasana, which is the and I'd be crying, be letting stuff out, like having these deep releases, and I'm like, what is happening here? Like, what is happening? So it started out.
This is when you practicing at home?
This is me. I'm practicing at home. I was doing both. I started out doing at home, but then I was still going to class like once or twice a week. I would do drop-in classes because they were cheap. So I'm like, I'm going to do some drop-in classes, fill it out. And like, I would just have these really emotional moments. And it was like, I more so was like, I want to go to power yoga. I'm going to sweat. I'm going to get a good workout. But then I was having this mental, something was happening mentally. And I'm like, I want to learn what's happening. I was interested because it was making me feel better. So I'm like, I'm rehabbing my knee. I'm gaining some strength. But then I was like, I got intrigued by what was going on with me emotionally. So then it made me want to look into it. So after I got home from training, I immediately applied to go to teacher training because I'm like, this is what I want to do. All through my Army training, I was getting people in the Bay. I was having them do yoga. I was trying to get my sergeants to do yoga. I was just talking about it all the time because I was still practicing, even though I didn't know everything. I only knew a few poses, but I was still wanting to have that mental satisfaction, especially when you're in training. Through military, it can be tough. So it's I needed something. It was I just felt like it was calling me to keep doing it, and I just kept doing it and kept doing it. Then I went to teacher training, and I went to teacher training through the pandemic. So it'll be a year of me being an actual certified teacher in April 15th, which is crazy because I have my own studio. Right. I was able to accomplish so much in a year, which I feel like that I don't even realize, that I can't even, I don't know how that happened.
So it started with just doing something for some recovery for your knee.
It was more physical for me when it first started because being an athlete, they do, I didn't even know, but after doing research, it's they do yoga for NBA players.
Oh, yeah.
They do them for any type of athletic sport. Yoga is involved. And then it's like it transitions into like, it's just good for us. It's just good for us. So once I start learning about it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is dope. This is me. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm about to learn everything I need to know. I'm still learning today. I don't know everything right now, but it really it's just changed my life, to be honest with you. And I mean that. And I get emotional talking about it because it really just changed who I am and made me better.
Talk about some of those like mental and emotional experiences that come with practice.
So, so I feel like the foundation of yoga, right? And I try to find ways to explain it that way people can understand it versus using like the yoga terms.
Yeah.
So when you think of yoga, I feel like people are like, they have this stigma in their head that they go to. It's like, oh, you're doing yoga. Like the first time I started doing it, my mom like, oh, that's for white people.
Right? Yeah,
why are you doing that? That's for white people. You're about to be one of those hippies walking around with no shoes on. You're gonna be, So it's like this stigma people have like of yoga, 100%. And I'm like, no, we need to change the narrative. We need to make it normalized. Like we need to make it cool. We need to make being healthy cool. It's not like a bad thing to want to do something that's gonna help us. And then I'm like, when I started going to class, it was a lot of white people. Like that's why I'm like, this is awkward. So you go and it's like, I feel like I was in this weird position, which I'm going to get into this later. I know we're going to tap into it, but I'm going to save that for later.
Okay.
But it's this weird position when you go to a yoga studio and you're black, and it's like weird. I don't know how to explain it. So we're going to talk about it later. I'm going to wait.
Right, okay.
But
I'll make sure we circle back.
We're going to circle back. But the emotional part that I'm trying to explain is basically Savasana kind of helps you, like when you're meditating and when you're in Savasana, it really allows you to slow down, and just, we are, every day you think about it, it's like, dang, I got all this stuff to do all day. Like, you think about everything you got to do. You think about stuff you might have forgotten to do. You thinking about all the stresses, bills, everything. And it's like, we don't even realize that how much is going on in our head.
Yeah.
So I feel like what was happening with me during yoga, it's like a challenge because you're doing these weird movements and these stretches and stuff like that, and you're trying to figure it out. So you're in a way, you're using your mind the whole time. But then when you slow down and start to rest, it's like all of that emotion that I was feeling that day would just come up in a way. And I was able to, you're in this safe space. It's like everybody's here for healing. Mm-hmm. Everybody's there for the same reason, to overcome something. So it became this safe space where I could go and know that I could release and feel better after, So that's what really kept drawing me back, is the safety net of it and the community of just the practice. Not necessarily the people in the room, but it became personal for me. Mm-hmm. So it was I don't even care about who's in the room or anything. I just know I need this for myself. So I would go in and just be able to release that, and it became more natural for me. And then I wasn't crying anymore, really. It just became me being able to breathe. And now I'm in this whole nother level of just tapping into all these other things. And it's I want people to get into it. These kids need to get into it. I'm learning that schools are private schools teach yoga. I didn't even know that. So I'm I've learned that a few months ago, but I'm we need it in these black schools. All these kids going through all this stuff, and I'm I want to be able to I can relate.
Yeah.
So I'm I'm in a unique position where it's I've seen that, and now I'm here. So it's I want to be able to continue to grow and continue to uncover these things within myself, but I want to be able to bring people with me to where they can also feel better and feel the same and have that transition mentally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's it don't matter how much money you got, it don't matter what's going on in your life. Mentally, if you together, you're gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's people, billionaires killing themselves, people living their best life but unhappy, and it's I've seen it. I see it all the time. I have conversations with people, there's no substance, who got everything, but then you go down the street and it's somebody who's just driving a regular car just lifted. You know what I'm saying? So it's I'm man, I'd rather be that than, you know what I'm saying? So it's where's the balance? Mm-hmm. But yoga, that's what really brought me back, was if you that to answer your question is basically that's what it was, that feeling of just getting over stuff and then it becoming easier, and then me wanting other people to feel that same way. So now I'm just trying to right now figure out how I can do that.
Yeah, man, I got introduced like a lot of other great things in my life, especially these last few years, through my wife.
Yes.
And I remember it was she introduced me to it when we first started dating, and at first I'm like, I'm not fucking with it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how did you feel?
No, I'm not fucking with it. I had the same stigmas that you was talking about with your mother. Man, that shit is some white people shit. It's definitely not no man shit. I'm not doing none of it. Like I'm not fucking with it. But I was so like enamored with my lady at the time, and I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? I was open to receiving it from her. And what I was I think I've always been, even though I was resistant to the practice at first, I've always kind of been open-minded to just like doing things that can increase like my overall health. You know what I'm saying? So from that standpoint alone, from like a surface level standpoint, I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it a shot. Like you said, when I first, started practicing, kind of got introduced to the practice, it was all just physical. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, all right, I'm stretching. It feels good on my body. I'm not flexible at all, so I'm like feeling different things physically. That's like, okay, this is cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then when I really was able to
like
be
tap
still,
in,
when I was able to be still and just like be, like you talked about Shavasana at the end. When I found like just small like little
just
little
holding
poses,
postures,
and I was just able to just be still and like connect to my breath and just breathe in those moments. I'm like, oh, this is different. And that's when I started to feel the emotional and the mental impact of it. And from there, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna fuck with it. And then when I started doing meditation, I'm like, fuck the poses. I'm going to just be still.
Yes.
So I'm more of a
tap into your Buddha.
So I meditated today. Like every Friday when I leave my work, 'cause I go to a meditation class. Like I'm more of a stillness person more so than I am in a yoga flow person. But
that is still yoga though.
It is.
So it's like
it very much so is. And then when my lady, when she started to educate me on like the history of yoga and really the origin of yoga and really like a lot of other things else in the world, black people started that shit.
Yes.
Africans are the ones who really,
brown people.
That's it.
Yeah, and yes, and it's just like, man, America we just gotta do better, and it's like black people need to do better. And when you just said that, when you were like, I had these stigmas, I love that you can recognize that, because I feel like a lot of people don't want to recognize that they're holding themselves to a limit. And it's like, you're holding yourself back. Like, you be open to new things. We need to be open to new things. We need to be okay with trying things that we don't think is for us.
But it's by design though.
It's definitely by design.
That's not a coincidence.
I'm not surprised by it, yes, but I still feel like it's an excuse. Like, at the end of the day, I'm like, what they say to people, like, there's this quote that I be loving these quotes, but it was basically a quote basically describing two people. One was homeless and a drug addict. The other guy was a business entrepreneur, but they grew up in the same house. And they're like, same house, same opportunity, lived in the same country, same state, same opportunities, but they had these different paths. And I feel like that's how everybody is. I'm like, you have a choice to make a difference. So I just feel like I want people to like take more accountability for like what they can do. Like, recognize your power, recognize what you can do, and do it. So I love when I hear people like overcome that. So I hear them like, I don't know if I want to come. Like, I see it all the time in class, because I kept my yoga job at the gym because I ain't trying to pay that membership. So I love still teaching there, because I'm able to, I've been recruiting people to come to class basically. And I've been getting all these black boys to come. They box a lot. So I see them in there boxing, or I see them in there working out, and they'll be peeking in the door like, what's she doing? Like, what they doing in there? And I'm like, come. And they just, it's the same comments I get from people, and mostly people of color. And I'm like, just come, like, it's cool, we're gonna have a vibe, it's not what y'all think it is. So I try to explain it to people, and then after class, they're like, oh, I'm so glad I came, they're coming back, So it's just like, stepping out of that discomfort and like going for something new and just seeing what it can do for you.
Yeah, the only reason I would say that is, to me, that it's a little bit more than just it being a choice is because when you're talking about things being built by design, you know what I'm saying? So when you talk about things being done systemically, those things have been constructed to impact our choices. So when that is put in place, and you talk about it's been put in place for years and years and decades and centuries and centuries, and then you talk about when you impact or when you throw in the dynamic of trauma involved in that, it impacts people to be able to make rational and healthy decisions. You know what I'm saying? So like when I was working in the,
I can't deny that.
Prior to doing this, the podcast full time, I was working as a social worker for a community mental health agency, and I used to work in schools, elementary schools. I used to work at the I Promise School. I used to work at North High School. That's where I graduated. A lot of different areas here, or a lot of different schools here in the area, right? And like when I started practicing yoga, I'm like, yo, I got to get these kids on it heavy, like you know what I'm saying. And I would do things to try to introduce them to them, and like for the most part, it's the first time they hearing anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing that I learned and that I seen was that as much as that I would expose them to these things, there were so many forces at play that impacted them being able to receive what I was telling them that was out of my control. So talk about what we was talking about at the beginning of the conversation. It was stuff that was out of my control, even though they were being exposed to somebody that they trusted and that they knew, you know, cared for them. It still was like a level of like,
I see what you're saying. I know where you're going. I know where you're going with that. And I agree with you. I agree with you completely. I agree with you. I can't deny what you're saying, but I do feel like you still can still try. Like, I feel like there's still, like, out of 50, you might get, like, 4. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's still a percentage of where there's still something coming out of it, which just holds a conversation. But I definitely understand, like, the impact of trauma, the impact of systematic, like, racism. I understand all of that. I just want us to come out of that. And I love talking about it and recognizing it, but it's like I'm tired of talking about it and recognizing it because it's like we still have control over it. And it's like we are able to change that narrative. That's why I love seeing states like Georgia, where like most of their leaders are black. Most of the business owners are black. Everyone down there is collaborating as black. It's like so much growth happening. And then it's like when I'm seeing it from a world view, it's like we might be technically, I'm losing the term, but like we're not the majority, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like we still have power to do these things. We still have legalities to do things. We still have opportunity to do things. Yes, we can recognize what we've been through. Yes, we can recognize the limitations we have. But it's like, why can't we change the narrative and just focus more of like what we can do? How do we change it and then start doing it?
Right.
That's my whole thing with like blackness and just being black in America and like dealing with like our peers.
Right.
I feel like a lot of I have some really close friends who's activists, and like my best friend, she works for, like, she's involved. So it's like I understand it all, and I have these talks all the time with my friends, like these deep political talks, and they be going crazy on me sometimes because sometimes I don't want to say I play devil's advocate, but I look at things differently than other people sometimes, and sometimes it can come off wrong. But I just try to focus on like
what we can do. What you can control.
History is there, right? The history is there. We understand the history, and if you don't, it's like, if you know you don't know something, then educate yourself on it because the resources are there, or just talk to somebody to try to figure out how to understand something better. But as far as like holding your, like having a mental note of like, well, I'm gonna think this way because of our ancestors and like because we've been through this, and that's why I think this way, is because the system was meant for me to think this way. I think that's like the wrong way to look at life, because you're allowing them to keep you there in a way, because you're not taking yourself out of that to see like, yeah, that was my past. That's what my ancestors went through. Yep. I recognize it, but look at me right now. Look at me today. Look at what I'm doing. Look at what I'm about to do. It's like, we can change that. And I'm like, that's what I want to see more of. And I think that we are seeing more of that per what just happened with all of the protests and everything. I see more of these convictions happening, like more things happening that are good. There's still a lot of bad. There's still a lot of work. And I don't even know if I'm going to be alive when it really starts to change, when the change really happens. But as long as we're adding to doing, as far as like, besides sitting back and like what's already been done and accepting it, is my mindset, I think.
I just number one, I think the best thing, well, one of the best things is that for us to have conversations like these.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
They're beautiful conversations.
You know what I'm saying? We can, I think that we can agree to disagree on some things, but to have the conversation that can push both of us to, to think and see things differently, whatever the case may be, is powerful. I'm just a firm believer of practicing empathy with our people. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's the most powerful emotion that we can do. You know what I'm saying? Is practice empathy, especially with our people, because when we got empathy, man, it's not only practicing acceptance, but it
goes a long way.
Yeah, and it
means a lot.
And it's like
it does.
It's like you.
It means
it's just
a lot.
You loving people from a distance type of shit. You know what I'm saying?
No, I understand that, and I agree with that, and I feel like that's what I do in every class I have, for sure. And I definitely love having conversations like this because I feel like I'm learning. Because I feel like you only can really go off of your own story.
Yeah, your own experience.
It's hard in your own experience. So sometimes it's like I need to have these conversations even with my own people because I mean. I learn from everybody I talk to, and I try to take something from it. And I know that, like, I don't know everything.
Right.
And I know that, like, I can't experience every situation the same as someone else. So it's like, it's really good to have conversations like this.
Yeah.
I'm ready to learn more about my own history. I don't know everything about myself. I even took a DNA test to figure out.
We never stop learning about ourselves.
Yeah, like, I was just having this conversation. Like, I think it's so weird, like, celebrating holidays sometimes for me. For real, like it feels weird sometimes because I'm
because of what the meaning of the holidays are.
Yeah, I'm like,
why you say that?
Because I'm like, it doesn't connect with me. Like
the holiday itself.
Yeah, like I just feel like I'm in this world, living in America, but I know, and I was educated the fact that like. I'm not from here. I wasn't originated here, and that my culture was taken from me. And then it's like with yoga practice, you tap in more into yourself, right? So I've been just really trying to tap more into myself, tap more into the things that are for me, and learn more about who I am. And like that's been a part of that too. It's just like, where did I come from? Like, where am I originated? Like. Really though, like why is my face like this? Like why is my body like this? Why do I have these features? What is my culture? What am I really supposed to be celebrating?
What's been your biggest resistance that you've been like experiencing with your own evolution, your own healing, like your own,
When you say resistance, are you meaning like something I'm having a hard time overcome?
Yeah.
I would say.
Or not, maybe not necessarily overcome, but something that continues to like
creep in.
That may be a thorn on your side somehow.
I don't know if it's just because of like people like to say because I'm a Pisces, which I'm not into horoscopes out. That irritates me. I ain't gonna lie, it don't irritate me, but it's just like
you think it's low hanging fruit.
I don't really know how I feel about astrology. And that's kind of strange because I'm in yoga and like everybody that I meet and it's funny because like I meet people and their first question is like, oh my God, like that. Oh my God, like, what's your sign? Like, and I'm just like, what do you think? Like, I don't know. It's just like, oh, you're going to prejudge me because of this. So it's like, then you tell them and then they, you get into this long talk about it. But anyway, like, I feel like sometimes I sit in I have these moments of just like sorrow a lot, and I'm trying to like figure out what that's about. Therapy has been helping me though, So I go to therapy. I'm a believer in therapy. I don't know if everybody is.
Me too.
But I be trying to get my friends into it. I be trying to get my family into it. But I need that third party to tell everything to and see what is going on with me. So, therapy's been helping me a lot. And then not even procrastination, but I think I procrastinate in a sense of like, I don't know if what it's the term is it, but like having everything to do, but then like not finishing one task before you get to the next task has been tough for me to overcome. So that's why I'm like trying to get back to a good routine. And like now I'm in the practice of like scheduling because I'm like booked more now, which is weird because I'm like, I've never thought I'd be this person. Like I am booked. Like I'm booked and busy. So, but like I really am booked and busy now. So it's like, dang, I got to crack down on my scheduling. So it's like scheduling and I would say sitting in sorrow too long is two things I'm trying to figure out. So basically like finishing a task before I start the next task. My problem is I try to do too much at one time. And I think our age group is like, multitasking is like dope and like I'm gonna do 5 things at one time and get it done, like that's like some huge achievement, but it's like
for the birds.
It is, and I realized that it's not quality. Like you're doing all these things but like the quality isn't there. So I'm really trying to tap more into just like, okay, I'm gonna have this project, I'm gonna do it, but I need to focus just solely on this one thing. That way it can really turn out and have the quality and be sustainable and like have substance. Like you were saying earlier when we were setting up and you were like just being more present and stuff. Yeah. So just that's like something I'm trying to do is just be more present in things that I'm doing, which is hard for me because I feel like things are fast tracking a lot for me, but I want to make sure like I'm accepting like collaborations that are good. I'm doing things that align, but it's hard. It's hard to like pick and choose what those things are and like how to make moves with that. So sometimes I have a hard time like finishing stuff because I'm like, I don't know. Like sometimes I don't know what the outcome should be or like what to do sometimes. So I struggle with that. When
you say sorrow, are you talking about just like, is it intense sadness? Does it like?
I'm gonna be real with you.
Depression, like is it? Like,
it's not that. It's not because I thought I was depressed. I ain't gonna lie to you. Last year, I would like, I don't know. I'm a crier. Like I like to cry. I like to get it out. I am a Pisces. I like to cry, but it's like I just love like allowing myself to feel whatever I'm feeling. Yeah. But I think it's the fact that like I my whole life have been in a relationship. So it's like the fact that like now I'm here, I live by myself, and then I'm like so busy all the time. And then it's like I'm home, and at nighttime I found myself, I'm in this space where I'm like, I sit down, I might be doing something or watching TV, but I get this like weird sadness, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like, and I just start to feel stuff.
Or does it just happen often?
I can come out of it, but
it happens often.
I'm recognizing it, and then I'm like, what is this? You know? So I've been talking to my therapist about it because I'm like, something going on. So she's like, you're not depressed or nothing like that, you know, because I'm telling her everything I'm doing. She's like, you sound busy and you sound overwhelmed. She's like, you might have like mild depression, but nothing's really going on with you technically. Like, you don't need to be medicated or nothing. Right. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what's going on with me. Like, why am I feeling this way every day? And she's, you know, she was telling me what she's telling me or whatever, not to put too much of my business out there. But so that's something I've been trying to figure out what that is. And yoga's been helping me out. Yeah. Another thing, I think just connection. Sometimes I think I just be craving human connection, and I have a hard time going to bed alone sometimes, and like just being alone sometimes is hard for me. So trying to get more comfortable being by myself has been a challenge, and I think it's a lot of pressure being a female, like having kids, being married. Like, I still be having these thoughts of, like, what am I not doing? Like, why am I not married right now? Why don't I have kids? And then it's hard because people are always telling me, like, you're so beautiful. Like, you have so many guys. Like, why? You know what I mean? And I'm always having guys on my neck, but it's like none of them really doing what they need to do. So, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard sitting in that, like, not having, like, the family net. Because I feel like professionally I'm going in a good route, but as far as like family net, I feel like I'm not there yet where I would like to be as far as like having a foundation, which I think is super important. I just think family is important. I think having a foundation, having your own traditions and stuff really can like elevate you in a different way than like you might not be able to experience.
1,000%.
And you can probably elaborate on that. I just think it's something good to have. It's like, you know, a team, a family, a net, a foundation. So I think once I have that, I'll be able to, not to say that I need it, because I know people out there going to be like, you don't need no man.
Right.
But
no, I know what you're saying.
But you get what I'm saying? I just think it adds value to like...
That's the word, value.
Yeah, it just adds value to like the process, I think. Yeah. So for me, I just feel like I reached this limit of like, you know how you feel like you building, you reach this limit. So it's like I'm ready for that new wave of like life. Yeah. Right now.
One of the things that like I would not really that much anymore, but like one of the things that I really used to talk to my therapist a lot was just like kind of like these milestones that I thought I should be hitting like at a certain point in time. Yeah. Now, granted, I'm 33. I've been married. It'll be 4 years in May. Mm-hmm. But even that, like me and my wife got together what I would have considered to be kind of later. You know what I'm saying? Like we got together when we were in our later 20s. We hadn't been together for like high school sweethearts or no shit like that. I get a lot of dirt prior to her. So like I was able to get a lot of life out prior.
Why you was doing that?
I was a scumbag. I was a huge scumbag. But I now understand that I was also going through a lot of shit. I was very much depressed. I didn't necessarily know how to connect to my emotions.
That's usually
I was
what's
trying
going
to
on.
mask, this perception of what I thought I should have, as opposed to, just being myself. You know what I'm saying? In a fearless way. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And when you're young, and a lot of guys and a lot of men don't really just speak to this fact of like when you young and going through stuff. The easiest way to like cope in an unhealthy way is like dealing with a bunch of women, self-medicating through smoking and drinking, through partying. Yeah. Like those are things that's just like masking the hurt. You know what I'm saying? So I experienced all of that type of stuff. But once I got with my lady, I was able to like be in a safe space of just like being myself. Yeah. And because I was able to do that from the beginning, and that was like the foundation that we set, it has like watered our foundation. And I think that has been like the best part about our unit. Like, you know what I'm saying? We started from a level of just like truth and like, creating something solid.
Yeah. Like, this is where I'm at. Like, this is me. Like,
it wasn't just on some like, we got together because we was in our late 20s and we just like each other. We was like, fuck it, let's get married because we at that stage of life we should do it. It wasn't that, man. We were very intentional about what we wanted, what the future looked like. And because of that, I think we just been able to reap the benefits. So I try to tell people all the time that like, number one, don't rush that shit.
Oh no, like
and like the second thing that I would say is like, not to you, but just to like people, it's just like, man, there really is just like beauty and value in where you are. Period.
Yes. It's hard to see. It's hard to recognize it sometimes, and I think everybody can relate to that. And I think if you don't relate to that, then you're probably not being honest. Yeah. It's hard to see that. Like, you know how everybody on Instagram recently was just doing 2021 recaps.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was like going through my pictures on my phone, and I was like just curious, like let me just go through these phone like pictures, and I was like going through everything I've done and like been through and stuff like that. And I'm like, damn, I did a lot last year, like and I was just like, that's crazy. But I don't know. I think we all have issues with recognizing that in the moment, and I love where I'm at right now with my man that I have right now. Like my relationship's really good, and I think it's crazy how that worked out, but I still have those weird feelings of pressure of like just having the family, even though I'm like
the societal pressure.
And I've talked with him about that. We pray together, we talk about God, and we talk about the pressures of like, when the holidays come, spending back to the holidays, like just the aspect of like, how everybody wants that traditional, like being together with your family, having that connection and that like tradition. So sometimes like, it's hard when I'm alone on most holidays. I'm like Christmas, I was by myself. New Year's, I was by myself. Like I be by myself. So sometimes I have a hard time with that. Like, why am I by myself? Like, so that's all it is. But other than that, that's the only issues I really have a hard time with is just loneliness and the procrastination of finishing a topic at one time.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, John Morgan. Listen, man, right now, as y'all can see, man, I got on the new Live Your Purpose podcast merch, man. It's going crazy right now. The t-shirts, I got the dad hats. People always hit me up. John, man, where can I get it? How can I grab your stuff? You got a website, you got a site, you got a site. How can I grab it? I'm here to tell you, yes, we do have a site. All right, that site is www.lypp.org. O-R-G. Again, it's www.lypp.org. Go to that website right now, man. You can find you can find a link to the YouTube channel. You can find a link to the audio platform, but you also can find where you can shop and grab your merch right now. Again, man, check us out. We got the tees going crazy right now. The dad hats. Expect to see some new products on that site. Go right now, www.lypp.org. Again, man. A lot of y'all been hitting me up asking me about this link and this site. It's available. So do yourself a favor, go through, support, shop with your boy, spend some money with your boy. I know some of y'all still got that PPE money. Come spend some with your boy, man. Peace. Talk to me about sound healing. Like,
okay,
what is it? Why is it important?
Okay.
Break it down.
So sound healing is another form of meditation. So you get the healing through the sound and the vibrations of it. So it's basically like helps you align with the energy, and it taps into your chakras as well. But I fell in love with sound healing because sometimes being in silence sometimes for me is scary, and I deal with anxiety a little bit. I don't know if, like, it's not diagnosed, but I just be self-diagnosing myself. I don't know what else to call it. Right. But
anxiety is it's a normal emotion that we all experience.
Yeah, and like my therapist is like, you don't have anxiety, like, but I just feel like I get like bursts of it where I'm like,
it's a normal emotion.
Where like where you can't sit down and you just like feel like you got to do something and like you just feel nerves or something. So the sound bowls, I experienced. So I'm gonna tell a little story. I'm gonna make it quick though. So I had a friend of mine who played the gong, and he lives in Chicago. And he's Filipino, I think that's how you say it, or he's Filipino. Mm-hmm. And I went down there, and he took me to a yoga, what do they call it? A yoga rage party thing, like a yoga dance rage party. I think that's what it was called. It was something like that. And I was like not sure about it, but I didn't know we was going to it, but we were already there. So I'm nervous, like I'm in Chicago, I don't know nobody, like, and I go into this yoga studio. And when I tell you this changed my whole life of meditation, like that's how I got into sound healing. This is the story of me getting into sound healing, basically. But we went there, and I didn't know anyone but him. And they put us in the room. The room was like a red dim light. So it was like this like, type of vibe. And we're in a yoga studio. We all got in a circle, introduced ourselves, and then they're like, okay, we're going to go into silence. Mm-hmm. Nobody can talk to them. Nobody can talk in the room. And we had to invite each other in the room through just like nonverbal like things or whatever. And I got into sound healing because they were playing the sounds, and we just like meditated, and you were able to like invite people in, invite people out. That was the first time I felt like super at ease, like lifted. I felt like I was floating, and I went and bought, like I invested into these sound bowls, which are very expensive. So worth it though. And I've just been practicing, learning how to play them, and they just really keep me at ease. It's just another form of meditation. And I can tap into like the health educational side of it, but
it's like the waves of the sound.
Yeah, I wish I had them here, but they're at my studio. But yeah, it's the waves. Like you can put the bowl, like say if I had you in a session, I would like, basically I can put the bowls around you. You can hear the waves going into your like space. I could put the bowl on top of your belly to where you can feel the vibration, or you can just sit into a seated pose and you can do it that way. But there's a bunch of different forms, a bunch of different instruments. It's not just the bowls.
So how does a person practice like
sound
by themselves? Like, do you practice it by yourself?
Yes.
Or do you go to a class? Like, how does Because, like, when I think of traditional meditation, I'm thinking about complete stillness. Like, whether I'm laying, sitting.
And that's a misconception that you can even talk to your wife about, because I'm sure she knows. Like, meditation could be anything. So I tell people all the time, like, cooking is a form of meditation for me. Like, it is. Like, anything that can calm you to where you're tapped into it mentally and focusing on it, that's a form of meditation. Like, sound, that's why they brought sound into it. So it's called sound meditation. But I used to sit, I had them set up over here in my loft, and I would, like, just play my bowls. I'd close my eyes, and I would play them. And I honestly was, like, literally release and just feel so at ease. And I start my day doing that, you know. And it was just, like, I just felt more relaxed and not as, like, timid and tight and, like, anxietied up, you know. Like, I just felt more, like, okay. So... Yeah. It's like you got to experience it. I don't know. Have you ever experienced it or
sound healing?
Yeah.
Yes, but like
a session, like a full session.
No, it's always been incorporated in just like meditation sessions. So it may have like started out the class or ended the class, but just like a full just class of it just by itself, never.
Yeah. So there's like
I didn't even know it was a
yeah, it's a whole thing. Like you incorporate like blocks, you incorporate your blankets, you can incorporate a bolster, like get yourself fully to where you're surrendered under. Like you can do a sandbag or something, like get yourself comfortable and like have a bowl on you, have a bowl next to you, use like drums or different things. Like they have flutes and tunes and chimes and all types of stuff you can incorporate into it to make it a whole experience. And that's definitely what I'm like gonna be doing. So, like, I have a bunch of things coming, being delivered. It's just weird because everything's back ordered because of COVID.
Yeah.
But, and there's no places here where I can buy stuff. Like, when I was out in Atlanta, I was just recently out there, so I keep referencing Atlanta. But they had a sound studio where they had a bunch of instruments in there, and I was, like, having so much fun. Yeah. I'm like, oh, my God, this stuff is in here. But, yeah, like, I want to bring that experience to people because it's just really helped me. And I'm like, what's helped me has got to be helping other people because I know I'm not the only one feeling this way. And I know I want to just be honest on there, honest about the process and just honest to people. Like, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah. I feel what you feel. This has helped me out. It might not help you out, but like it's worth trying it. You know, like let's just try it, see if it works. So that's why it's like good to just have the offering there. And those studios are offering sound healing. Yeah. So... It's like, I just wanted to be offered.
I'm gonna definitely have to check it out and like do like, you know, I'm come to your studio and do like a...
Yeah, I'm like, YouTube it. I'm like, anytime somebody's curious, I'm like, man, just go on YouTube University, get you a YouTube, find a YouTube about it, and then at least just see what it might be like. That way you have a visual. Yeah. And then come experience it, and you never know. But that's just one part of the yoga experience I have. But the meditation that I love doing too is just what I like as well.
Talk about your experience being a black woman in the space of yoga, and just like what your experience has been from that aspect. Yeah. Break it. Tell a little bit about your experience.
I was hoping we could talk about this. So being black doing yoga in America is weird. So basically, you know, I felt like I was the intruder going into it. Like I felt like I was not belonging because I was the oddball, like the lesser of.
You ain't see yourself.
No, it would be like one or two of us in the class, and then we're always getting pointed out, which is irritating. So, you know, the one studio where I would say, I have to be honest, where I didn't feel like that was Yoga Squared, where Kate and Nicole teach, and I love them.
Mm-hmm. I like Yoga Squared as well.
Yeah, I love them. Mm-hmm. They're good people, and they have good hearts, and they have the right intention. But everywhere, I couldn't find anywhere else. So basically, even in yoga teacher training, I did my training there. I was the only black person in the training. And I just felt like I'm always constantly having to like speak for my whole community. Like I have to speak for the whole community, and that is a lot sometimes. And I don't feel like I'm really understood a lot. And I don't like how yoga has been made to be this like white like experience when it originated from brown people, and America do what they always do and like change the narrative. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't want it to be that, because this is something that can benefit all people no matter what color you are. And I want it to benefit our people more, and people to get that experience, at least try it, and for them to feel comfortable and feel safe and feel like they have a community and feel like they can actually connect and be in a good space and not feel like weird.
Right.
So that's like been my experience so far. And recently it's like, that was my experience first starting out. But like now as a teacher, it's like, I'm going to be real on this podcast. Like,
Please do.
I hope I don't make nobody mad, but I gotta be real. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, these studios, they think that they are helping. They're not, though.
Being inclusive.
Yeah, they're not. And it's irritating because it's like, I'm like seeing how social media works, and it's like everyone's posting like Black Lives Matter and support Black business, and we have this Black person on our roster, but like, y'all are not really doing nothing for us Black teachers, to be honest. Like, you giving Black teachers like the shitty shift that no one wants to come to sometimes, and then it's like the way you're approaching how to like ask someone to be a yoga teacher is just not right. Like, I can't tell you how many like yoga studio owners, I'm not gonna say their names, that I've met with in this area, you know, Stowe, Cuyahoga Falls, Canton, Akron, and like we have talks, and then they're like, yeah, like we really think you would like add to the diversity of the studio and like bring in like a good net of people, and we just love what you're doing with your business, and like, you know, we just want to like, you know, like basically take what I'm doing and bring it to them, you know. So that's why when that opportunity came for me to get my own studio and get my own space, I jumped on it. I didn't feel ready. I still don't feel ready to have it, to be honest with you. I don't know nothing about business. I didn't study business. I'm in health. I have a degree in health education, and I'm going to PA school. I don't know nothing about business, okay? I know about health. I know about the body. So it's like, I'm still going to jump into it. You know why? Because God brought that opportunity to me, and he heard me when I was asking for it. And it's like, I feel like he heard me when and feel me going through all that stuff. It's disrespectful. It's like, why are you bringing up the fact that I'm Black in a conversation about me working for you? It's unnecessary. It just makes me feel like I'm being used. And then it's like, sometimes I feel like I'm being used like as a picture image because of like me being a little bit lighter, having curly hair, like having this like imagery of like what society thinks a Black person should look like. Sometimes I feel like that with some people with the conversations I have. And that's a weird spot to be in too, because I'm like, nah, man, this don't feel right. You know?
Right.
And I don't know. So like I've been struggling with my hair lately. I've been thinking about cutting it off in a way. Like I want to like shave it off sometimes because I'm like, every time I'm in yoga, like these people always want to like, they're like always wanting to come to my hair, touch my hair, like, and I'm like, you would think by now that it would be not like something people would bring up, but it's like always being brought up, you know? And I don't know, I just feel like it is. It's annoying. And I'm like, back to what you were saying, like, it almost contradicts what I just said earlier about like us being crunched to what we, when you were talking about our Black experience and us having traumas for it, it almost contradicts myself a little bit. But it does make me feel weird, you know? And it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like studios, it's hard. It's a hard spot to be in because it's like, think of it. They're a white person and they want to do better and they want to, like, I can tell they want to be good, and I can tell that I can feel it. Like, it's like I can tell you want to do the right thing, and I can tell that you have a good heart and that you want to like support, but you don't even have no idea. They have no idea how to do it. And they're not asking the right questions, and they're not being honest about it. Right. Because it's like, besides being honest and talking to me like a regular person, being like, how can I help your people? How can I make you feel comfortable here? What can I do to like actually make you feel inclusive? Versus like, it's more so like, yeah, we think you could be like a great fit for like adding diversity and and we want you to teach this, but it's not those other conversations of like, I want to have more diversity. I want to do this, but like, I don't know how to do it. I'm gonna be real. I don't know how to do it. I don't know if I'm doing it right. What do you think? Am I doing it right? Like, besides like engaging. And I think that's the part that's missing in the studios. Yeah. And especially in the trainings too. Like, I have these, a service on my website, a free consultation that I have set up. And I've been getting a lot of calls from like other Black women in Akron. And they are like, I want to do yoga training. I would love to like teach and learn how to be a yoga instructor. And I'm like, that would be dope. And they're like, yeah, but like all the classes are like all white people. And like people have like dropped out of classes because there's not enough black people in it.
100%.
So this is why I'm turning my business into a school. Like I'm like, yoga, In Time Yoga and Wellness Studio will be a school so I can certify these people. Because we need more black instructors. And that's why I'm like, I want to talk to your wife because I want her to be a part of that. Like, she's already doing it. I felt her heart when I was talking with her. And I'm like, I would love to, like, learn from her, experience things with her, and have her a part of, like, what I'm trying to do. Because Cleveland's already doing it. They have black studios up there. They have more black yoga instructors in Cleveland and in Columbus. And Akron's just not doing it. We might be a little bit smaller, but we have the ability to do it. It's here. We have the opportunity. We have the people wanting to do it, and we'll invest into it. We just need to get it out there and do it. You know, and I'm like, let's just do it.
Do you know who Rachel Cargill is? So she's originally from here. She's like a writer and an activist.
Yes.
Big deal online.
I wasn't sure who you were talking about at first. Yes.
Social media follow. I had her on the podcast last year, and she said she has a quote where she said that white people can't be the oppressors and the saviors. And when you was just talking about that, like, you can't try to be inclusive from an aspect of trying to be a savior. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be from a standpoint of pure service.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And pure intention and pure, you know, it's got to be right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if it's not that, it don't read. Like, you know what I'm saying? And we are able to know that. And it's crazy because, again, when you start talking about the history of the practice and understanding its origin, and like you said, man, you know, America does what America do. You know, they take, they loop, they steal, and make it their own, and change the story, change the narrative, and the rest is is their story.
That's why I'm like, you know what? Y'all change the narrative, you're gonna change it right back. It's like, I'm gonna take control over it, and that's all we can do is just take control over our own destiny. But
good for you for feeling that experience, like, not for experiencing it, but good for you for recognizing what you were experiencing and saying, fuck this, I'm gonna create my own, and I'm gonna be intentional about educating, and you know,
it came at a cost though. I ain't gonna lie to you.
It always do.
I'm not gonna lie to you now.
It always do.
And I ain't gonna lie to these people on this podcast neither. Like, I feel like I definitely was like sectioned out from certain groups of yoga student. Like, people, I feel like it's cliquey in a way. Like, yoga right now in any city, I feel like it's kind of cliquey. Yeah. So I feel like I did Elevate Yoga, the big yoga festival, this past summer. Okay. And I like sold out, did really good. And as I was doing it, like, a bunch of black, like, I was the only, I don't want to say I wasn't the only black yoga instructor there, but I had a stand up selling my candles and stuff. And a bunch of teachers that follow me on Instagram were coming up to me like, hey, like, I just wanted to, like, talk to you sometime. I'm going to Instagram you. Like, I'm going to DM you about stuff. And they'd be like, I just want to talk about, like, your experience. Like, are you having a hard time finding work? Like, how do you feel about these teachers and, like, these studios and stuff like that? So people were, like, coming out to me, reaching out to me, like, trying to see, like, are you experiencing the same type of, like, discrimination, basically? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, damn, I thought it was just me. Like, I thought I was tripping. Like, because I really wanted to believe in my heart that these people will have good intentions. I try to see the good in people, which is my downfall, right? People say. I always try to see the good. I always, like, will believe somebody until they show me different type of person. Yeah. So for that, it was just like, dang, okay, this is not nothing I'm not making up. Like, this is really happening. So that's really was the start of me, like, paying more attention and just being more intentional. But people definitely, I feel like once I started to, like, really blossom and, like, be who I am and, like, be confident in that and standing in my own uniqueness, I feel like that really, like, threatens a lot of people. Like, oh, like, she's doing all this stuff. Like, it's became more cliquey, and, like, you know, you get rejected from certain studios, you get accepted from certain studios. Like, some studios was hiring me for workshops, some weren't. But it's just the way it goes. Yeah. And that let me know I was doing good. Yeah.
Man, I love your content. You know, I think that it's creative. I think it's consistent.
I'm trying.
I love when people are like, I love when people are creative in their own way, and they put it out constantly on social media. Because as a new entrepreneur, as I would still consider myself to be, like, people I don't really hear a lot of people talk about really like the mind fuck that comes with like posting content.
Yes.
Because it is a process of like getting over those mental hurdles of just like, man, saying fuck it, post, and whatever comes with it, whether that's low views, high views, not a lot of engagement. There's a lot, like, it's a mind fuck.
It is.
Like I said, I love what you do online.
Thank you.
I've read one of your posts, and I want to read it, and okay. I want you to like break it down a little bit.
Okay.
And I don't know if you wrote this per se, or if it was an author, but I think it was you, because you normally quote authors.
Yes, if it's a quote, I will quote it.
So yes. I'm gonna read this, and I want you to break it down.
Okay.
It says, real comes from the center of our unique essence and speaks to the moments of the center. Real has a boldness to it, an essence of spontaneity. Real asks us to live from a place where there's nothing to defend and nothing to manage. It is a contact with the moment that is not superimposed or prepackaged. Real is something we might not always like in one another, but we come to know there will be no surprises. Real, though not always pleasant, is trustworthy.
Yes. I love that quote. I be saying that all the time.
That's hard. That was all you?
No, so I did get some of that from the Yamas and the Yamas.
Okay.
Gotta be real.
Okay.
I just edited a little bit, so that's why I didn't quote it. But I did get that from the second limb of yoga. So that quote is just true. Like, I feel like that quote, like, identifies with me in this process. Like, be real. Like, you are special. Mm-hmm. We all have something to offer, and I think that's what we're missing. Is like we're trying to like fit into something,
right? When
it's like it's already here, and that's what I realized for myself, and I think that's what this whole big like yoga's helped me get there, because I didn't have it without yoga. I think yoga allowed me to tap into that more and recognize like I need to look a little bit inward to figure out who am I like. And I think that's the biggest challenge of life, is finding your purpose, finding who you are, and like what makes you unique. But then once you find it, are you going to be real about it? Are you going to be really who you are? And like, even with behaviors, with everything, it's like, okay, people like accountability, being honest. Like, do I really want to hang with this person, or do I really want to chill and be by myself? Do I really want to have this conversation, or do I not want to have this conversation? Like, is that something I really am into, or am I not into it? Or am I wearing this because I feel like wearing this, or, just being real. And I think that is just like, we need more of that. Like, stop being so nice all the time. Like, stop being nice to these people, because they don't care about you for real. Don't nobody really care. And that's something I had to learn, is like, nobody really cares. Nobody cares about your problems. Nobody cares about what you're going through. They might love you. They might really want to help and really want to be there for you, but it's like we all have that personal thing that we're all trying to like really figure out, that like no one really understands. And it's like we have to be real about the process and real about things. And I think it stands too with my faith. Like, just being real about stuff helps me get closer to God in my faith.
For sure.
And like, the more and more I stepped into my realness and just being honest with myself and my process, who I am, what I like, what I want to do, real with people, my relationships got better. They got smaller, but they got better. Everything about everything changed. But I love that quote. That's crazy, because I read that quote a lot during Savasana.
I want to read one more.
Do it.
Invest in yourself so you can invest in the others. The more I grow, the more I learn is about service to others. How we can help add to this world rather than take from it. I try to practice this daily, but it's not easy. Getting rid of old habits society has had on us since birth is not an easy thing to do. It's a forever unlearning process that is forever ongoing. That's the beauty in it. Trying your best and feeling full before bed.
Yes, now that's something I wrote.
Yeah, that was you. I could say that like, no, that was all you.
I wrote that one. Yeah, man, that's tough. Like, it's tough. Mm-hmm. It's tough, like, trying to feel a sense of, like, satisfaction. But then, like, what I was saying earlier, like, what am I adding? What am I doing to really And I think that that's what life's about, is like, how are we like servicing others? How are we servicing the world? Like, what are we leaving here? It's so much pleasure in that, like, that we miss out on, like giving back, having community, having connection. That's why I have community yoga that's free. I'm like, anybody want to do community yoga, I'll do it with you. Like, I just want to connect with you. I just want to talk. I want to see how you're doing. I want to like tap in, because it's helping me. It's helping me and it's helping you just by having that connection. We need each other. So like, I just think that that's what life's really about. And it's not about the things we think it's about, like the money, the cars, the success, the likes, the statuses, like that perfect picture, whatever, all that stuff. It's like, I was getting way too caught up in that, like, for sure. Like we all do. And I think I was like, this is not really doing much for me. And that's why I'm like, man, yoga helped me find this. Like, I just keep bringing everything back to yoga. It's gonna sound weird, but
no, I don't. It don't at all. It sounds true.
Yeah, it really is. Like, that's why I'm like, it changed my life, because it's helped me really like find these things that have meaning for in my life, and like it helps me every day in different ways. But I think that quote really just stems from like, every day I try to wake up intentionally, like I said, have my routine, even if that routine is interrupted by whatever, just like staying intentional with like what I'm really trying to do in my focus. And I think that if you can wake up every day knowing your purpose, knowing like this goal you're trying to get to, even if you don't know your purpose, like even if you like have this like feeling of like, okay, I don't like where I'm at right now in my life. I'm in a bad spot. I'm down and bad. Like, I'm broke. I'm in a bad toxic situation, or whatever you're going through. Like, you can change that narrative. Like, and I think that's what started my yoga process. Like I said, being in this weird spot. I was in a bad spot mentally, physically. I was not good, you know? So it's like just having that like safety net of the class, but then turning that safety net of the class into something safety for myself, the practice, and then turning the practice into now something that I'm like doing for a living and like forever growing in it and like learning in it. And now I'm able to like take that on to other people. And it's like truly a blessing, honestly. Like, I'll be so happy after class and like energized. And it's like nothing I've ever felt before with anything I've ever done. Like, and I'm like grateful every time I get to do it and talk about it. It makes me happy. So it's like, I have to share this. I have to give back, because it just feels like such a giving. You know? So,
and that I told you I was reading that Will Smith book again for the second time, an audio book, and he talks about the power of purpose and the radiance of service. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are, and that's kind of like, no pun, but that's the, you know, live your purpose. That's what it's all about. You know what
I love your brand name. I love your company name. I love what you're doing. Like, you were talking about my content. Like, I be feeling like my content is like, okay. Like, I be judging my stuff so much. So it's weird hearing that it's nice, but
nah, it's good. It's very good. It looks good. It's clean. Again, the biggest thing though that I take from it, outside of it being creative, is that it's consistent.
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to do.
Because, like, again, man, it's not so much about the engagement. Although, like, that's the mindfuck of social media. That's the impact of just like the algorithm and just like, you know, the competitive nature that, you know, that we under and things like that, is that we get caught up in these numbers and these analytics. When I was on this podcast, dude's name is David McCullough. He's the CEO of the mental health gym up in Michigan called Inception. And I was talking to him about my content, and I was talking to him about just like, you know, having my own struggles, the same stuff that you're talking about right now. I'm being hard on myself about like, damn, like, why is my shit not hitting like the way it's supposed to, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm having thoughtful, substantial, like, powerful conversations with people like yourself, and like, you know, I may get 100 views, you know, I may get 30, 40 views, and like, I'm like, damn, I know what the hell I'm talking about is like, you know what I'm saying, powerful. Why my shit not running it up crazy? Now, granted, I'm not a fool. I understand that, you know, we in the entertainment age, and you know, nobody cares about the truth when the lies and entertainment is more, you know, more engaging. But what he said to me, and I always go back to it. He checked me. He said, now, isn't that interesting? He was like, and we was in the studio, in a small studio. He was like, if it was 15, 25 people in this studio, this mug would be packed. Mm-hmm. He was like, now, isn't that interesting how the algorithm and just the analytics and this idea of like what we think success and just like looks like, we diminish it. But think about it, man. Those is 20 people who rocking with what you doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know, so it's
the
most important thing you can do with creating content is being consistent. Because even if it's 200,000, man, you servicing and impacting somebody.
I agree fully. And like my man tells me all the time, like every time I teach, he's like, oh, hey, like, hi babe, how was class? I tell him, he's like, how many people you have? And I'll be like, this many. He's like, that's awesome. Like, that's great. And like, it's just like, I love, even if I have one person, I'll be real with you. Sometimes I remember having like no one in the class coming in, and then like someone will walk in like 20 minutes late and I'm still practicing. But it's like, I'm still grateful for that one person. Like, I'm still going to be grateful. And I love what you said about like the aspect of consistency. I think that's what people want to see, is just more so consistency. And I feel like for myself, like hold myself accountable to the consistency really like keeps me challenged. Like I want to keep myself challenged on like trying new things, keep putting stuff out there, but then like staying intentional in it, like making sure I'm like posting actual like content that has value to it. Like let me post something like meaningful, or at least truly from me, like not just one word or something, you know. So I try to have like some information on there, or like what I'm really going through, what my process is like. And it's hard sometimes being a woman, like being in yoga, because I feel like it's so overly sexualized. And like what you were saying about no one cares about the truth, it's like I feel like sometimes I try to make sure I'm not being too overly sexualized in what I'm doing as far as like social media, because that's a whole nother topic. But I feel like it definitely is something I try to be intentional about, because it means so much to me, and I'm like, I want to be respected. And I have so many people who want to manage me, who reach out to me like about management or like PR stuff, and try to like tell me that I would do better or have more views if I would do this or do that. And these are conversations people bring to me. I'm being honest. And like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's like, I'm not dumb. Like, I understand that I could be getting views if I did this or did that. I would be doing it then. Like, I'm not.
And they trying to push you into more so over sexualizing what you're doing.
Right. Like, oh, if you did that, or if you wear this way, or if you posted more of this stuff, and it's like females. And I'm like, nah, I'm cool. And like, I'm cool. And it just goes back to my values and my morals, because it's like I said, family, like faith, like tradition. Like, I'm low key traditional with my stuff, and I just don't think that is really any value. Like, the world already has enough like sex in it, and it's like, I don't want what I'm doing that means so much to my heart and to my mind, like, and it's so educational, I don't want to make it like overly sexualized. And I see so many of like the influencers that are so trendy, like kind of like tapping into that a little bit more. I love the new wave of like body positivity that's around, and I love myself. I love my body. I know I look good. I mean, that's not a question. So it's like, I'm not questioning that. It's more so like, I just want to be respected, and I don't feel like you need to have to do that to get your message across or to gain a type of following. I feel like people are going to follow your heart and your spirit and what you're putting out versus like what you look like at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can feel that 100%. That's just like when you said, you know, before we started filming, you was just like, man, I feel like one of your podcasts is like one of the podcasts with like taste. And I appreciate that, because I could easily be sitting up here talking about bullshit and gossiping and, you know, doing stuff to get clickbait and doing stuff that's considered to be entertaining. And to me, it's just like, that's cool. You know, don't get me wrong. Shit, I participate in some of that sometimes as far as like what I consume. Yeah. But, you know, it comes back to me, to the value, and like, you know, what is my intention behind what I'm trying to do. Right. And I'm trying to help people, inspire people, encourage people, and like, you know, really relate to stuff that people is really going through behind closed doors. Like, you know what I'm saying? The mindfuck of being a new entrepreneur, you know, the trauma that's really holding people back from like chasing something and, you know, being their true self. You know, this is shit that people really dealing with and going through, you know. So I just
never change, please.
You can't.
Never change that, because that's what keeps me like following you, like keeps me looking at what you're doing, like looking forward to what you got putting out, who's gonna be next type thing, you know. Like, I just love it. And I'm like, man, I really mess with it because it's a lot of podcasts that are out, and like I haven't seen one like this that I really, really see going far, like really. And I really want you to keep going.
Appreciate it.
Build your team, get what you got to do to get, you know, to keep elevating. But I definitely love what you're doing and keep having these like conversations. Like, I love this. Like, I really do. It's a great thing. And like, I always tell people, when people are like becoming an entrepreneur or like wanting to start a business or do anything, I'm like, people always say like, oh, but they already, no. Nah, it don't matter if somebody already has something or if something's already out. It's like, you are an individual. People buy what the individual is or what that product specifically is based off of like what it can do or what it can bring, right? So it's like, just go have that idea and do it. It's like, that's what I did with In Time and my candles. Like the whole brand, like if you pay attention, I'm gonna go through my branding real quick. So it's like, I thought of In Time because of yoga, right? So I'm like, damn, like, what do I want my business name to be? And In Time came because of like how much we take for granted time and how much value time is, and how time is like the overall essence of everything. Yeah. And it's like, but it's like In Time, we're still blossoming, we're still growing. So it's like, that's why I came up with the concept of like the clock. If you look at my logo, it's a circle. It has a clock hand, and then it has two leaves. And the leaves is this clock, and the leaves are a symbol of In Time, you're growing and blooming into your true self. So that's why that whole logo concept came into play. So there was like a lot of mindfulness that came behind it. But that was what I thought of, you know. And then when I was like, okay, I'm doing yoga, but I feel like there's something more I can really add to it. And I'm like, I love the aromatherapy side of yoga. So that's why I started making candles. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how to make candles. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to start a business. I didn't know how to start a website. I didn't know any of these things. And you just did a podcast with Company Connect, Aaron. Mm-hmm. I love him. And I was messaging him on Instagram. He dope, man. Like, him and his wife, Nadia, are great. And it's funny because, man, back in the day when they were both at Ohio State, and they did Heart of It All, right? Yeah. I knew him from way back then, and I was like down there with my ex because my ex was a photographer. Okay. And he was shooting their fashion show. Okay. So we both got like media passes, and we were down there shooting their fashion show. And that was my first time meeting him, but we all knew mutual people or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we had kept in touch over just online. You know how social media is. Mm-hmm. But I knew he was doing all this stuff, and he's the one who helped me get my LLC. Dope. But he did all of that for free. He just like sent me the information, didn't charge me, and that's how I knew he was legit. Like I'm like, that was nice. Like, you didn't have to do that. You could have charged me. Like, he didn't charge me for the video or nothing. So he just kind of gave it to me, even though it was like a small gesture. Most people would probably like hit you on some like not really trying to help type thing. So I really mess with him, and I love what they doing, and they really out here trying to help people. So that was dope. But I got the LLC. I figured it all out.
Shout out to the Connect, man.
Shout out to you guys. I fuck with y'all. You guys are growing, and I wish you guys nothing but the best, seriously. And like I'm as soon as I get more money, I'll be buying more stuff. It's just hard right now. It is like people see the glamour and the glitz, but I'm gonna be real about it. Like, business is tough because I personally didn't take out no loans. I'm not investing money into this. I'm using my own money for everything. So
you reinvesting all my
money into it because I'm not in a place where my credit is where it needs to be to where I can get like the type of loan I would want to get. I'm gonna be real about it.
You gotta watch the episode with the Company Connect. They break down.
No, I watch all their stuff or whatever. But I'm just like I'm not ready for it right now. I'm gonna be real. I'm not ready for that type of like thing. I'm still trying to build. I have like some goals I want to hit personally, and then go there. But I'm been reinvesting into myself. And when I first started out, I had a few dollars. Like, I had saved some money from my military pay, because we get paid when we on orders. We get paid our pay, plus we get housing and food and like all these extra things or whatever. So I was using all that extra money and like investing. I was buying soy, buying wicks, buying like all the stuff I needed for candles. And I was learning all of this from YouTube and from Amazon. I was getting a lot of my stuff, but then I researched, like, I was going on bigger companies that were already established on Instagram and online, and I was looking at what they already had as far as their ingredients.
You get bulk stuff.
Yep, and wholesale stuff. Yeah. So, but I was then looking at, like, what do I need to do? So I figured it all out. bought everything I needed to get, and I just started making my stuff up, got my brand and everything, marketing and all of that. Every time I do a pop-up, I like sell out. So I'm like, dang, I'm really like right now, if you look at over there where my stuff is, like I have like no product. And that's my biggest issue right now, which is like why I have to kind of go to the point of like investing more money, because I'm learning like now I'm at a place, like I've only been in business. I hit my 1 year anniversary. I did an event Black Friday. The November 26th was my 1 year anniversary of In Time being open. So I made 5 figures with In Time, but I haven't hit 6.
Oh.
So my goal this year is to hit 6 figures, but I've had 5. So I'm like, okay, that's a lot of money. I made a lot of money, but it's like I don't see it. It's weird how it works because it's like I'm making the money, but then I'm having to spend it all, and then I'm still having to like pay all my bills. I'm adding new bills because you know you start out with a certain product, but then you want to make it better. Yeah. So it's like you have to keep investing into it to make it better. It's still stuff I want to get, like better labels, better like jars, better wigs and stuff. Like I just want to make the product more luxurious for the customer. So
that's dope.
That's a whole nother thing outside of yoga. It's like I still have a whole a candle line that I'm running. On top of me running a studio. I mean, I'm doing a lot of stuff. So it's like it's a lot. I ain't gonna lie, but I love it. And I'm like, man, anybody really can do it. It's just like, you got to have a purpose behind it, a passion, and like ready to like put in some work to do it. And it has to make sense. And I feel like my candle line and my aromatherapy line, like all of that makes sense with yoga, and it all comes together. And like candles burn in time. It's just like everything correlates. It's full circle. So it's like really great. But yeah, man, I'm trying to hit 6 figures. I want to see what that's like. I want to hit 6 figures, and then I feel like I can scale up. But right now, it's like I need to basically invest enough to where I'm able to have inventory and just have it stocked. Right. But it's such a risk doing that because you're buying over than what you're getting right now. So it's like I'm going to be investing. Right. But it's like what I need to do. And it's like I want to find a distributor. I don't know if Akron even has distributors. Like, I don't even know if that's available. It's like, I would love to have a distributor who I can go to that can package everything for me, like, and distribute it for me. That way I don't have to do it. It would cut it out for me. Having a place to stock stuff, like thinking about getting a bigger place as far as a studio. It's just a lot of stuff I want to do business wise, that I know, like, if I had a team of people and if I had the money to invest, which I know I can get money if I needed it. I don't know if I'm ready for it right now, but I probably could be hitting 6 figures right now, to be honest, but it just takes time. And it's like, man, it's a lot. I want to make sure I'm ready for that. Right. And I feel like right now I'm like, I have to, like you were saying, being present. It's hard because it's like, I have my yoga studio, but then I have my candle line, and then I still have to be present as a soldier. You know, so it's like, that's what I was saying, finishing one task at a time. It's like, okay, I have a lot of opportunities right now. I could really succeed in all of these, but like, how do I want to put my focus? Like, where do I want my focus to go? So sometimes I'm like trying to make sure I'm putting my focus in these different areas. And sometimes that is a downfall because I'm not putting all my focus into one thing for it to really boom. But for me, I just feel like these are the things that align for me. And I feel like I'm putting my focus I'm spreading it in a good like place right now. I feel like I have a good balance. Is it perfect? No. Right. Is it perfect? No. I just feel like I still could learn. But that right now, I know for sure I need a team. I need help. Don't nobody want to work though. It's like weird. No one wants to work. It's hard finding people that share the same passion. It's hard finding people that are willing to work and be accessible, and that's what, just having the same passion and willing to work, really. Yeah. So that's been my thing. Yeah. Right
for me, man, what's helped me in, you know, in seeing my business just continue to just be consistent and grow it, is that the people that I've aligned myself with on the team side is people like Gabe and the real people who do their job, but they have a passion for what they doing already. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's been like the biggest thing that's helped me keep LYP and like grow it. Because like I said, when we started, man, it was literally just iPhone and a couple like cheap mics, like you know what I'm saying, and my young guy who runs the sound for me, who has a passion for engineering, and him and I just hit it off, and then Gabe and I met maybe a year into me doing it, and we just been rolling and just been growing, and like it's just been
happening. That's how I feel too. It's hard to find. That's why I'm like wanting to talk to other there's only 6 Black yoga instructors in Akron.
That's wild.
I looked everywhere.
That's wild.
I started a group chat on Instagram with us all in it, and I'm trying to get everybody to I want to do some work with everybody basically, but there's only 6 of us.
I think that's dope.
Yeah, but
tell me, what's the long-term vision for in time?
Oh
studio?
Lord,
what's the
I have so many goals.
What's the play? How do you not from a goal standpoint, but just like
the vision?
Yeah, what do you see?
It's hard to say that without saying goals. But for in time, I really want to be all over the world. Like I want to be in the world, like not just the U.S. I want to make that something that's accessible all over the world, but more connections with people, like more community connection. I just want to have more collaborations, more exposure, and be able to provide better education as far as like yoga itself. Me personally, I just want to keep learning. I want to keep educating myself. And I want to keep connecting with like-minded people and learn from them. And just creating information that can be easily digested from people and easily translated and easily understood in a way for people to connect with it and want to take a path for themselves. But yeah, this year I just want to turn it into a school. I'm going back to school for some more training hours. So I have a lot of goals to get there, but I want to have basically to where I can have trainings. I want to do retreats, all that. It's a lot of stuff you could do with yoga and healing and wellness. But I like I said earlier, I want to go to PA school. So it'd be cool to have my own wellness like studio, like actual wellness studio where yoga can correlate with medicine, like holistic medicine. And then like I could run both sides, but have a team basically. Y'all don't understand how much medicine is out there that's healthy for us that is not accessible, or people don't even know what it is, or like it's just like overly priced, or it's not covered in insurance. Yeah, so that's a lot of stuff I'm learning. That's like a whole nother topic, but I basically just want to keep educating myself, basically.
Beautiful, dope for you. With Chanda, this has been wonderful. You know what I'm saying?
It has.
We almost at 2 hours. I ain't did a 2 hour podcast.
I know.
Some of our earliest.
I didn't even think it was this
almost
long.
2 hours. So this has been wonderful. I want to say thank you for doing this. This has been a fantastic conversation. I genuinely love what you're doing. I want to continue to see you. Keep growing, keep elevating. I hope that everything that you want for in time. I definitely can see you doing that. Like, I can definitely see.
Oh, I'm going to. It's a fact.
I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe you. So I want to, continue to support what you got going. Any way that I can be in service and help, please let me know. But again, thank you for doing this. This has been terrific. Before I get you out of here, I got a couple rapid questions I want to hit you with.
Oh, Lord.
Real quick.
Let me talk about some stuff.
Go ahead, do your thing, because I got to pee first anyway. So
I do too.
We're going to take a little small break.
I got to pee too.
No, for real.
You
that was
good.
Yeah. My hips. That was gold.
Right.
Man, I got to pee too. Okay, the light is on the outside.
It's on the outside. Okay, bet.
Wait, what are you doing?
I'm getting getting a different battery for this camera. No, all that's crazy because I was literally just talking to my brother about medicine and insurance. The fact that I feel like it's the age-old thing that everybody keep talking about how do we not have universal basic medicine?
I'm gonna tell you right now, it's because America's healthcare system is basically ran on business.
Yeah, it's not ran
If you look,
it's not ran on helping people.
It's proven through COVID. It's proven through COVID. That makes, I mean, if anybody had any doubts, COVID should answer the question for you.
You're really profiting.
Yes.
Off of deaths
More,
and vaccines.
yeah, more people that are diagnosed. I ain't even gonna get into it, man. I be getting in these deep talks, but no, like when I was going through nursing school, so I was in school for nursing, and then I switched to health education. And then I went to school. I'm a medic in the Army, so that's my job. And then, so that's my job in the Army. And then outside of that, I'm trying to get in PA school, basically. So, physician assisting. So it's like you're not a physician, which is a doctor. You're just like assisting the doctor, basically. But my sophomore year in college, when I was learning about healthcare, it's a class called, what is it called? Nursing education.
You want to come this way?
And I'm gonna hold. I'm good. Yeah, I'm gonna wait.
Sure?
Yeah, because if I get up, I'm like, I don't want to sit back down.
It should be. I don't know, bro. What out of my pocket?
What?
Which battery dead?
Your camera.
Okay.
I just wanted to change that.
Let me see.
Look in the bag.
It's not in the bag.
Throw it in the bag. But yeah, like that class teaches you the business side of yoga and how the board works and how everything works. It's just like, it made me not want to be like, yeah, it was like, wow, like, so.
Appreciate you. No, that's wild.
It is.
Like, it's public knowledge that like all of everything that insurances say they cover versus I forget the acronym, HMOs or something like that.
It's just
all of that shit is whack. The band, like that was just public knowledge. Like,
man,
profiting off of this and
it really is. Like healthcare is just like, I have such a passion for it, and like I'm like, we need more Black health educators and health physicians, because it's scientifically proven. You can look at studies that Black people do better when they're taken care of by another Black person, because they can actually understand things
100%.
and translate and actually be honest about what they're going through.
Yeah,
and,
we feel safe.
Yeah, and it's like, if you think about every doctor's appointment you've ever been to when you had an issue, it's always like treating the symptoms. No one's actually trying to get to the core of what's really going on, and that's like a big problem, because it's like.
And the reason they ain't trying to get to the core, and the reason they ain't trying to get to the core of what we got going on, is because it's been constructed to that at the core of our being is that we ain't right.
Yeah.
Some bullshit.
Yeah, and man, I remember a few years ago I almost died. I had a blood clot in my leg. Damn. And it turned into a pulmonary embolism. Damn. And it went through my heart and my artery and like split off to my lungs, and I literally could have had a heart attack and like died. Wow. So that happened while I was literally in Cleveland at a Shakespeare play, which is Midnight Summer's Dream. That was happening to me. Yeah, I think it's a cool ass story. But that was going on. So when I went to the hospital, this is when I was with my ex. We went to the hospital. They tried to send me home the same day. Wow. And his mom came up there. My ex was white. His mom came up there and was like, "Why are you guys sending her home? And she just could have, if she has a pulmonary embolism, she could have died. You guys need to run tests on her, figure out what's going on, da-da-da-da-da." She start asking hella questions, right? Doctor leaves. She goes out to get something. Doctor comes back in the room. I swear he was waiting outside. Comes back in the room like, "Is that your lawyer? What's going on? Like, is that da-da-da-da-da?" This is a true story. Like, this really happened. He started asking me if that was my lawyer and like who the woman was. So my ex at the time was like sitting in the room, like kind of just like looking weird at the dude. He goes back outside. About 2 hours or so later, he comes back like, "Oh, we're going to keep her for a week and monitor her. We're going to run a few tests." Like, "Oh, because the white woman said that y'all need to, y'all going to do it now." But when I was like pleading my case, you wanted to send me home.
Because a lot of people really don't give credence to a lot of Black people.
That was...
At first, and especially Black women, and it's like, because what was the number of pregnancies that was just from Black women to white women, just because they don't believe what's really being said, or they just don't care, or they treat it like a mechanic of just
when I learned
source, not trying to find the source, but trying to find a way for you to come back.
When I learned some of the specifics of Black infant vitality and shit, and like the infant mortality rate, and like how we have one of the highest in the country. I think at one point Summit County had the highest in the country.
Summit County.
Yeah, we had like the highest in the country. At one point, like a couple years ago, and it might still be that way today. I'm not 100% sure. When I learned kind of like the breakdown of that, I'm like, oh yeah, this shit it's more fucked up even than you could even really imagine, because it's like it's literally exterminating black life at the start of it, and that's depressing as fuck when you break it down like that, when you hear it like that.
It really is. Man, I could talk about healthcare for a long time.
Don't get me started for real.
That's why I'm like, let's not even go there.
Yeah, don't even get me started.
We back live?
Yeah, we ain't never stopped really recording on the audio.
Well, I wanted to thank you for having me out. I was kind of like, dang, I wonder if he ever gonna ask me to be on the show.
You waiting?
But I'm glad you reached out to me, because I have been noticing what you're doing, and it's definitely an honor to be on your show, because I know you're gonna blow up, so I'm gonna be able to be like, I was on his show when he was just starting out.
Fact.
So I'm just really grateful for it. Your questions were really good. You had a really good intent and a good focus, and I feel like I was able to say a lot of things that I've been wanting to say, and just haven't had the platform to say it. So I appreciate you for giving me a safe space to do that.
Thank you.
It means a lot. And I just want to like wish you nothing but blessings in the future, and like continue to grow, continue to learn, and continue to take each lesson you get as something positive.
Thank you. I appreciate that. As a words of affirmation guy,
yeah,
I received that. So,
yes.
So thank you. Thank you kindly.
Yes.
I genuinely appreciate that, and I don't take it lightly. You know,
yeah.
so
No, I mean it for sure.
No, I know.
I'm seeing people, and it's like I see you working. I see the passion. And it's hard to find other black entrepreneurs in the same city that is doing something and wanting to grow. So anytime I can get you in a situation that's going to help elevate you, I'll do that. And I don't expect nothing from it. It's just me genuinely wanting to see more people grow. So
Thank you. Appreciate that again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been fantastic.
Yes.
Before I get you out of here, I got a couple rapid questions I want to hit you with.
Okay.
The first one is, we in the new year.
Okay.
I hate New Year's resolutions.
Okay.
But I love intentions. So what do you want to be intentional about in 2022?
I want to make sure I'm responding, but I need to respond better to people, like relationships and stuff, like
in some like
intentional
communication type stuff, or just like somebody hit you up, I gotta respond. Like you will go a couple days and won't respond.
I want to be more intentional with relationships in general this year. All the time. That's just been an overall goal for me, is just having more intentional relationships and connections with people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And with my finances, though, I'm cool on spending money. For real.
Hold on, real quick. Why you just touched on that? Because I was thinking when you said something. How much did you invest to become a yoga? How much was your yoga instructor?
$3,600.
And you said you made
a little more.
When you said it was how much? $3,600.
$3,600.
So let's even round it up to $4,000. And you said you already hit 5 figures in your business in year 1.
Yes.
How much did you spend on your college degree?
Ooh. Okay, so I went to 2 colleges. I went to Hiram College for 2 years. Wasn't in the military. That rounded about $60K, because it's $30K a semester. It's a private college. Now, all my Kent State stuff, which was free. So I have about not right now, I don't have that much. I have 50 something in debt right now.
But you invested your...
But I'm cool with the debt. I'm okay with it, because I have...
There's nothing wrong with college.
Well, Army has tuition.
I don't even want to say it's nothing wrong with college debt, because there is.
It is. But the Army gives me tuition reimbursement.
Okay.
So I'll get my reimbursement.
The point that I'm trying to make is...
I invested more. Basically, you're saying is it was worth the investment because I'm getting it back.
Absolutely.
Times 3.
And like it was an investment that was like, don't get me wrong, $4,000 is a lot of money, but at the same time, it's not crazy amount of bread. Like,
nah, it did seem like a lot. Like, cause I'm like, damn, $3,600. Whoa, for a paper.
You can get a credit card limit of $4,000. Somebody with a low credit score.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and invest that and put in the work. There's some passion behind it.
True, and there's more business to it. That's why I want to talk to more Black yoga instructors. I'm like, this could be more business for a lot of us to make money. I'm like, once I start doing trainings, think about me having a class of 25 people paying $3,600 a month to listen to get a certification. I'll be making $50K plus per month just getting off subscriptions and stuff. So it's like, it's a lot of money to be made within yoga, but it's like you got to be intentional with it and you got to have value. So I'm like, I still need to educate myself before I go there.
Right.
You know,
what's your purpose and how is that connected to what you're doing today?
Oh man, I feel like my purpose is definitely healing for sure. Yeah,
All right,
I feel like I have a purpose in healing and like a nurturing and caring.
Okay.
Like,
what's something about you people will be surprised to know?
Something surprise. Ooh, a lot. People don't know nothing about me really.
So give them one. What would
I don't
people
put a
be
lot out there.
surprised to know?
Jeez, do I want to get some? Oh.
Just give them one. You don't gotta give them
I'm
that
just
crazy.
playing.
Give them one.
Dang, I'm like, I don't know. Surprised?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know if I should say that.
Come on, you on the Live Your Purpose podcast. Go ahead and get it out there. This is a safe space.
I've never dated a black man.
Okay.
Is that surprising?
Yeah.
Okay.
Never?
Ever. My whole life. I've only had 3 boyfriends, though.
Okay.
I don't know what else to say. I'm like, I ain't going too personal here. I don't know.
Okay, no,
what else to say.
that's a good one. That is surprising.
That's what came to my mind.
That's surprising. What scares you?
What scares me?
Hold on, why? Why you ain't never dated a black guy? I gotta ask. If somebody gonna watch it, they gonna be like, why you ain't ask her why?
Because I never had the opportunity, really. It's nothing like that. I just, like, I've tried, and, like, I feel like it just never had the opportunity. Like, I was always either in a relationship, or the guys I've talked to just wasn't giving me the energy I needed, and I was cool.
Okay.
But I've, like I said, only had 3 boyfriends my whole life.
Okay.
So
what scares you?
What scares me? No, I don't know. I think the fear of being, like, sexually assaulted is scary to me. Being, like, a woman.
That's deep. But that's real.
It is, though. Like, they walked in and I had my gun out. I got nightlights everywhere. I had a stalker in a building. Like, it's just a fear of mine of, like, that's something I cannot control. It's like someone, like, attacking me. So sometimes I be paranoid, like, being by myself, going to the gym early in the morning. I be going early at, like, 5, and then, like, leaving the studio late, you know, or, like, having one-on-one private sessions with men and stuff like that. I had someone call me on a free consultation call to tell me that they had an issue with masturbating 30 minutes into the call. Like, it just be weird. Men are just, no, let me not say that. People can just be strange and have problems and not know boundaries. Right. And sometimes they just need help, and sometimes they do things that they shouldn't be doing. Yeah. So that's a fear.
What's your favorite quote?
Ooh, I'm going to say it. Hold on. It's on my website.
Okay.
I got to go to it, though, because I don't want to mess it up. You going to like this, camera guy? You going to like this, because this has to do with cameras. Okay, so it says, this is my favorite quote. I should learn this. Life is like a camera. Focus on what's important. Capture the good times. Develop the negatives. And if it doesn't work out, take another shot. That's my favorite quote because it's true.
I like that.
It's like poetic in a way.
Yeah, for sure. What's the best advice you ever received?
The best advice I ever received was to say less and listen more and learn more. I think we overtalk sometimes, and I'm a firm believer in, like, I still have issues. Sometimes I talk too much. Like, in the Army, I learned that just, like, being more observant and, like, picking up on, like, nonverbals more, just, like, listening more, picking up on stuff more, reading more, you know, stuff like that.
If you could call your 20-year-old self, knowing what you know today, what would you tell yourself?
Definitely marriage will come.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think I was too focused in my relationship in my 20s. Like, I remember I was telling you, I was in a 5-year relationship. I met him at 19. I got out of it 25. I'm 27. It's only been 3 years.
You're 27 today.
Oh, yeah. So 25 to 2 years. It's only been 2 years.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah. I mean, I was like housewifey for a minute.
For real?
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's kind of cool that I like got out of that relationship because as soon as I got out of it, I started blossoming. I was like by myself. I started doing stuff I need to do for me, and it wasn't a bad situation. Nothing happened. We just weren't. We just like more like roommates.
Okay, got it. Well, tell people where they can find you, your social media tags, your website, what type of offerings you doing in your classes, how they can register, to become a student.
Okay, so you can find me at InTimeYoga_wellness on Instagram, and I have a website. It's www.intimestu.com, and that is where you can find all of my scheduling, my booking. You can find all of my aromatherapy line. I have candles that are handmade, all natural organic. We didn't tap too much into my candles, but all of the candles is like not harmful to breathe in. It's a lot of education I learned about candles too. We'll have to talk later about that. But they're all handmade, all like organic and natural. And then I have room and mat spray and sage and stuff like that you can purchase as well. And then I have a bunch of community options on there. So like if you ever had an event that was like local and you wanted to bring in like someone like me to do anything that I serve or provide anything that I serve. Like I've donated products to stuff. I do free community yoga at like any type of charity. I have some stuff coming up with the art museum. Okay. So I collaborate a lot in the community. So I'm a value of source if you ever need me, because if it has to do with the community, I'll just do it for free because I'm like, I just want to connect, you know.
Yeah, we got some stuff coming up. We'll talk to you a little bit about it off camera.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We'll give you some information. I'll give you the details and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
We'll get it situated.
That's where you can find me.
Chanda, thank you so much. This has been terrific. Listen, the last thing that I have my guests do is I have them lobby for a special guest.
Okay.
My apologies. I should have told you who the guest was at the beginning. I normally do.
Okay.
Because I've had some guests tell me like, yeah, I like what you're doing, John, but I don't fuck with that person, so I'm not lobbying for that person. But we had our special guest, Arian Foster. He's a former NFL player.
Okay.
On the podcast, he was like one of the inspirations. He had a podcast at one point in time after he retired from the NFL.
Okay.
And I was very much inspired through his pod and stuff. We were able to get him on the show last January. This time of the year, last year, matter of fact, we was able to get him on the show. So this time, man, we lobbying for another guest. We lobbying for Mr. Charlemagne the God. We want to get him.
That
on
would
the
be
show.
lit.
Yeah. I love what Charlemagne is doing on the mental health side, and just like his transparency with his evolution. You know what I'm saying? He's
evolved, man.
Oh man, it's his
amazing. Whole aesthetic is I'm loving it, man.
Yeah, he's doing his thing. So I want to sit down and really have a conversation with him. So if you could look at that camera right there.
This one.
The one on you.
Okay.
Tell Mr. Charlemagne the God why he should be a guest on the Live Your Purpose podcast.
Charlemagne the God, you should definitely be a guest on Live Your Purpose podcast because it's a great host. What they're doing is actually meaningful. They're really trying to connect with the community and have valuable conversations that are going to hold a lot of education, a lot of things that are going to help change a lot of lives, a lot of things that are going to help educate. So you should definitely want to be a part of it and just support something in a community like ours. And it would be great to have somebody of your stature to come in and just show that all the hard work that these people are putting in at Live Your Purpose podcast is paying off, and just show some support in that way. And just to educate a little bit, bring a little bit of your flavor, but come and support them because it'll mean a lot for us as the viewers, as well as us, the interviewers, and them as a business. So come and check them out.
That was fire. You dropped a lot of bars right there. That was good. That was very, very good. Thank you so much again, Chanda. We appreciate you. Again, this has been a wonderful conversation. I genuinely appreciate it. Another episode. LYP. You can go to the website www.lypp.org to cop the merch. We always got new stuff. We got events and things like that coming up. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Live Your Purpose Podcast 1. Again, much love to the community at LYP. Much love to y'all. Shout out to my team. Gabe, Darrell, I appreciate y'all. LYP, baby. Peace.